Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday morning. I'm starting off with these pictures that I took out of my back door yesterday morning as the sun was coming up. I just thought they were so cool. The sky, I didn't do anything to these photos. That was the color of the sky. Isn't that just amazing? Beautiful what God creates. Anyway, we have a lot to cover today and a lot of royal family stuff. There's a lot. Let's go. I want to start off with a big thank you to my subscriber, Lawrence, who sent me this fabulous magnet of the Queen for my refrigerator. I love it. It's right on my fridge. All right, moving on. All right, starting off, we have the President of the Republic of Korea. He was given an invitation by King Charles to come visit, and he said yes. So his name is Yoon Suk Yeol, and he's coming with Mrs. Kim Keon Hee. Very nice. We're going to move on to Mike Tyndall. Remember I told you guys that he's doing an ITV reality show called Grand Slammers, where the rugby stars go to the prison and build a prison rugby team? Well, he's out there talking with some of the other rugby people, and all of a sudden, here comes Princess Anne, the Princess Royal. So Mike's on the phone talking with rugby player Martin Johnson. And after the conversation ends, here comes the Princess Royal. And Mike says, I'm sorry, do you want to join in? We're teaching a rugby prison team how to play. And, you can join the coaching staff if you like. And somebody else says, well, you could be our team manager. And the Princess Anne says, well, thank you very much. What's the scheme? And Mike says, oh, we're going in and trying to coach, and then they're playing the guards. And the Anne says, I've seen a project elsewhere, but it's really difficult to keep them going. Am I allowed out? And Mike says, yeah, you're allowed out. Of course you are. And she says, well, I've come to watch the racing. And she walks off. What? Here is a very small snippet for you.
You can be our team manager.
Yeah, you can be our team manager.
Oh, thanks very much.
Yeah. We're going in and trying to coach them, and then they're playing the guards.
Yeah. I'd seen a project elsewhere, but it's really difficult to keep them going.
Yeah. Yes, you are allowed out. You are allowed out. Of course you are.
I absolutely love the way these two banter back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Love it. And I love this show. I hope it's somehow that I'm able to watch it from the United States. That would just be so cool. All right, moving on. Now we're going to move on to Sophie. She did a visit to Triverton last week to meet local groups and charities, and she met this young man. He's 16-year-old James, and James said that the Duchess told me that no matter how difficult things are in care, which is foster care, it's what affects us in our daily life. And we talked about the total respect training and all the things. And she said, it's a good idea. I'm trying to influence change rather than adults trying to change things on their own. Exactly. Good luck, James. And a big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for the information on her outfit. She looked lovely. And keeping with Sophie, she's currently in Italy, in Rome. She is attending the funeral of the late Italian president, and I hope I say this correctly, Giorgio Napolitano. And she was representing the UK with her customary style and grace. She looked absolutely fabulous. I love that diamond brooch on her left shoulder, but good for her. I'm glad she was able to go and represent the UK. All right. And of course, as is usual, a big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for all of the information on what she was wearing. Moving on. All right, we're going to move on to Edward now. There is a lot. He is currently in Istanbul. He was there once before in 2015. So his first visit, after he arrived, first of all, he met the people on the dock. You can see the cameras and everybody's like, hello, hello, hello. So his first stop was at the, I hope I say this right, Kabatas Boys School in Istanbul for the International Youth Award Program. So he gets to the school. We all know that this is the Duke of Edinburgh Award. We all know how important it is, and that Edward was very excited to see what the students were doing at the boys' school. He saw several examples of the things that they're being taught, the things that they've learned. I think it's wonderful. And I'm very happy he took over the Duke of Edinburgh and the Edinburgh Awards. I think he does a wonderful job. Lots to see, lots to do. All right. So, of course, at one point he went into some area. The kids were playing chess. The kids were playing table tennis. And Edward decided to give it a try. Camilla did better, but here's a snippet for you. Edward was gifted with a collage that had pictures and signatures of his mom and dad from when they visited the school in 2008. And when that was over, Edward headed out to meet President Erdogan. I hope I'm saying that right. The Turkish president hosted him, and the two countries discussed their cooperation with, education, science, and trade. Very nice. Now, at some point, Edward reviewed an album of an earthquake that hit several provinces in Turkey February 6th. And after that, the Duke of Edinburgh went to the British consulate and attended a gold award ceremony for the Duke of Edinburgh Award. 38 young people with the highest achievements were awarded the awards. Very nice. Love the photo. Anyway, as is obligatory, before he had to leave, Edward had to sign the book for the boys' school. Very nice. I think all in all, it was a very successful trip so far. Of course, this was just day one. We have a day two coming, which we'll be covering hopefully in the next video. I can only say that when I look at pictures of this area, what a beautiful place. Gorgeous. All right, moving on. Let's move on now to Princess Catherine. This is very interesting. So she went to look at a textile mill in a place called Leeds, and come to find out that this mill was once owned by an ancestor of hers. I think it was a great-grandfather or grandfather. He owned the business known as William Lupton and Company. Then he sold it to A.W. Hainsworth in 1958. Pretty cool. I just have to ask, is there any color that she can wear that doesn't look good on her? Because I've yet to see it. Anyway, she arrived at the factory and she learned about the different processes of textile from yarn to fabric. There is a lot of machinery and techniques that are very traditional, and those are the backbones of today's industry. Pretty cool. Also, by the way, I included these pictures because I thought it was just amazing that she had a faux pas with her outfit and she didn't make a big stink over it. She simply fixed her hem on her pants and kept going. Anyway, while she was there, she saw a mannequin called Oliver. She was interested in the way the uniform, because that's the way it used to have been made. Interesting. Anyway, she met with a bunch of the company's apprentices and, of course, the mentors who are showing the different skills that have been passed down from generation to generation on how different things are made. She then went to a laboratory that's on site that apparently is state of the art, and they're using this laboratory for product development and new innovations. Then, when all of that was over, Catherine met with Professor Stephen Russell, who is the founding director of FFF, Future Fashion Factory, and she learned about all the innovation that the textile industry is coming up with as it's going on. So since she's all into style, as we all know, I think it's pretty cool she can trace her roots back to that manufacturing plant. Thank you to Remoulade Sauce again for all of her outfits. Moving on. All right, we're moving on to Harry and Meghan, and I just want to touch on this. I usually don't talk about other people or watch other people's genres because, you just don't want to cloud what you're doing. But River put up a video, essentially, that said that Harry had been invited to go to the Polo Club in Dusseldorf while he was there for the Invictus Games. It wouldn't have been that big of a deal, and he was going to go. They invited him, and he demanded $70,000 be donated for him to sit and watch a polo match. They said no. Go figure. Moving on. All right, we're going to move on to Harry and Meghan. Of course, more memes are coming out, but I'm going to give the memes a rest for just a little while. Let's go back now to this whole thing with Kevin Costner. This Twitter user put up the point that Harry and Meghan went to this thing for first responders right after Catherine and William did the exact same thing. Interesting. Not a coincidence. And of course, we found out also that they had to pay for the tables, like $70,000. Yep. Moving on. All right, we're going to move on to this story. Now, we know that Harry made the request to stay in royal lodgings while he was in the UK during the World Child Awards. And supposedly, he contacted the palace and suggested he'd love to see his father and stay with him. But then when it was told he could come to Balmoral, he said no. So the story is just crap. But anyway, the problem is Charles has kept Harry as a counselor of state. But in order to do that, it is required by law to have a UK base, which he no longer has. He was evicted from Frogmore after the spare. So now they're trying to determine what to do to fix that problem. So according to the article, to fix the problem, they want to lease a property on the royal estate to Harry and Meghan. They're going to lease the property, an apartment at Kensington Palace, where William and Catherine have a house and a private office. Okay, obviously untrue. Buckingham Palace is denying those reports. They're saying that, from now on, when these untrue reports come out, they are going to refute them. They're not going to let Harry and Meghan put out these puff pieces, okay? If somewhere on the royal estate needs to be earmarked for Harry so that he can still be a counselor of state, it would not be the palace where Catherine and William are living, okay? Now, it's understood that Charles does not want to remove Harry as a counselor of state because he doesn't want to, escalate tensions. However, Parliament may do it for him, okay? He doesn't meet the requirements anymore. That's just all there is to it. Now, it is being reported that if he gives enough notice, they might let him stay on property. And with that, I agree with this Twitter user because now that Buckingham Palace has confirmed that the information put out was fake, it's clear that King Charles has drawn a line in the sand. Yeah, well, I don't know what Harry expected him to do. Moving on. All right, moving on to the next story. This just somehow doesn't surprise me because after all the trouble that these two have caused with the royal family, their names as baby names, they used to be up at the top, they have massively plunged. So there's a thing called a baby center that keeps up with that sort of thing. And the names have dropped from 13th place to 23rd place among new parents. So people don't want to use those names for their kids because now they have negative connotations. Gee, you think? Anybody surprised? Yeah, I'm not. It's being reported that Meghan's name and even alternative spellings of her name have also dropped in registration. Not shocking at all. Prince George is in the top 10, or the name George is in the top 10, as is Jack, Arthur, Leo, Theo, and Oliver. And for girls, you have Sophia, Amelia, Aria, Isabella. Really cute names. All right, moving on. All right, this last article, you guys really need to give me your opinions on this one because they're saying that Catherine and William are so hurt and insulted by Harry at this point, they're not even interested in solving the rift. Apparently, they're saying that William and Catherine tried to heal the rift at Prince Philip's funeral in 2021, but apparently there was another fight. And then, the article says there comes a point, and I'm quoting right from the article, there comes a point when you just have to accept that happy families are not a game that everyone can play. Catherine, was talked about badly in the spare. William was talked about badly in the spare. So was, Camilla and Charles. And you can't make that go away. That book stands for all time. There's nothing they're going to be able to do to undo the damage. They're always going to have a cloud over their heads, because of the things that Harry and Meghan have said, even though 90% of what they've said has been proven to be a lie, okay? Now, when they were spotted at the funeral service for the late Queen and the four of them did that walk around together, they were like, oh, the Fab Four is back together. And then, of course, we found out later that that walkabout happened because they found out that Harry and Meghan were going to do their own walkabout for the Netflix cameras, which were there. Also, it was alleged, and some of the videos did come out showing that Meghan seemed to be a little unsteady on her feet, and there was some discussion that she may have been a little bit, tipsy. I don't know if that's true. That's just been alleged from some of the videos. I mean, it does look like it is, but, whatever. They were going to do their own walkabout, and William and Catherine immediately put the kibosh on that. So, I don't get, I understand why they don't want to solve it. I wouldn't want to solve it either. All right, you know what to do. Leave those comments, make them good. And if you've donated to my coffee fund or through the thanks button, thank you so much.